Welcome back to our channel, World Coins History. As you knew that old is gold, but these rare Lincoln Wheat pennies coin that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them. You're lucky if you have one of these, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Top 1. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most iconic coins in American history, the 1917 Wheat penny. If you think a penny is just a penny, think again. This little piece of history is far from ordinary, and in the world of rare coins, it holds incredible value. Stick around, because by the end of this video, we'll reveal just how much a 1917 Wheat penny can fetch in today's market. Now, the 1917 Wheat penny, minted in San Francisco, might seem like an unassuming coin at first glance. But don't let its humble appearance fool you. This penny is a true gem in the world of numismatics, and its rarity can make it worth a small fortune. To understand just why this particular penny is so valuable, we need to take a closer look at its history and design. Let's rewind a little. The wheat penny, officially known as the Lincoln cent, was first issued in 1909 to commemorate President Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday. Its design, featuring Lincoln on the obverse and 2 ears of wheat on the reverse, was an instant hit and became a staple of American coinage for decades. The 1917 Wheat penny, however, stands out among the others for several reasons. First, we have to talk about the mintage. The San Francisco Mint, where the 1917 was produced, didn't make as many of these pennies as other years. In fact, only around 23 million of them were struck. While that might sound like a lot, in the world of rare coins, this number is quite low, making the 1917 Wheat penny a sought-after treasure. As the years have passed, the number of these coins in circulation has dwindled, and those that survive are often worn and heavily circulated. Finding one in excellent condition is incredibly rare, and that's what makes these pennies so valuable. Now, let's get to the really exciting part: why some 1917 Wheat pennies are worth so much. While many of these coins are found in average condition, a select few come with unique characteristics that make them extremely rare. These include minting errors and unique features that distinguish them from standard issue pennies. For example, the 1917 Wheat penny is famous for a variety of small but significant errors that occurred during the minting process. Some coins exhibit double die errors, where the design is struck more than once, creating a noticeable doubling effect on the lettering and features of the coin. This error can significantly increase the coin's value, especially if it's well preserved. Another rare feature to look out for is the presence of weak strikes. The 1917 was produced during a time when the San Francisco Mint was experiencing production issues, which led to some coins being struck with less force. As a result, some of these pennies have very faint or even incomplete details on the design, making them highly prized by collectors. These weak strikes are rare and can sometimes fetch more money than an average example. But it's not just minting errors and unique features that contribute to the value of the 1917 Wheat penny. Condition is everything. In the world of coin collecting, a coin's grade plays a massive role in its value. A 1917 Wheat penny in good condition might only be worth a few dollars, but a coin in excellent or uncirculated condition can command a much higher price. Now, here's where things get really interesting. You might be wondering, how much could a rare 1917 Wheat penny actually be worth? Well, when it comes to rare coins in exceptional condition, especially those with minting errors or unique features, the value can be astronomical. Pennies that are in near-perfect condition or feature rare errors can sell for tens of thousands of dollars at auction. But if you have one of the rarest 1917 Wheat pennies, those in the highest grade with significant minting errors, it could be worth a staggering amount. Are you ready for the big reveal? A 1917 Wheat penny in top-tier condition, with rare minting errors, has been known to sell for up to $250,000 in some cases. Yes, you heard that right, $250,000 for a single penny. So, what does this mean for you, the collector? If you come across a 1917 Wheat penny, it's definitely worth taking a closer look. The condition, minting errors, and rarity all play a role in determining its value. If you find one in mint or uncirculated condition, or with any unique characteristics like a double die error or weak strike, you could be holding a coin worth a small fortune. As always, we encourage all you coin collectors out there to keep searching and keep learning. The world of numismatics is filled with hidden gems just waiting to be discovered. Who knows, your next penny might just be the one that makes you rich. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1917 wheat penny and want to see more videos like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Top 2, we're about to uncover the fascinating world of the 1957 wheat penny, a coin that might be sitting in your pocket, unnoticed, but could be worth a fortune. Yes, you heard that right. By the end of this video, you'll understand why this seemingly humble penny is attracting collectors and investors from all over the world. Let's dive right in and explore what makes the 1957 wheat penny one of the most interesting coins to hunt for today. Now, let's set the stage. The wheat penny, officially known as the Lincoln cent, has been a staple of American currency since it was first issued in 1909. Featuring the portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the front and 2 stalks of wheat on the reverse, this coin is iconic in its design and rich in history. But as time went on, the wheat penny became increasingly rare, especially in later years. The 1957 wheat penny marks the final year of this iconic design before it was replaced by the memorial cent in 1959. So, the 1957 wheat penny represents the end of an era in American numismatics. That alone gives it a certain level of historical significance, but what really sets the 1957 wheat penny apart from other coins is its rarity and the unique characteristics that make it especially valuable to collectors. At first glance, it may seem like just another penny, but there's so much more to this coin than meets the eye. The 1957 wheat penny, much like other coins from the era, was produced in large numbers. Over 1 billion were minted in total. So, in theory, they should be easy to find, right? But as time has passed, the number of these pennies that remain in excellent condition has drastically decreased. That's because these coins were heavily used in circulation, which means most of them were worn down over the years. Finding one in good condition, let alone a rare gem, is much harder than you might think. Now, let's talk about why condition is so important. In the world of coin collecting, the condition of a coin is a huge factor in determining its value. Coins that have been kept in pristine condition, or even those that are in uncirculated state, are far more valuable than those that have been through years of heavy circulation. This is where the 1957 wheat penny starts to gain some serious attention from collectors. However, it's not just about condition. What makes this penny even more intriguing are the minting errors and rare variants that can really skyrocket its value. There are a few specific features collectors are on the lookout for that could turn an ordinary 1957 wheat penny into a priceless treasure. For instance, some 1957 wheat pennies have been found with double die errors. This happens when the die used to strike the coin has a misalignment, causing certain parts of the coin's design to be doubled. This type of error is incredibly rare, and collectors absolutely love it. A 1957 wheat penny with a noticeable double die error could easily fetch a much higher price than its face value. Another minting error to keep an eye out for is the so-called repunched mint mark. This error occurs when the mint mark on the coin is struck more than once, creating a slightly offset or repunched appearance. If you come across a 1957 wheat penny with a repunched mint mark, you could have a very valuable coin on your hands. Now, let's get to the really exciting part, the value of this coin. While a regular 1957 wheat penny in good condition might only be worth a few cents, rare versions with minting errors, particularly those in excellent or uncirculated condition, can be worth significantly more. In fact, at auction, these pennies have been known to sell for prices that might just surprise you. So, here it is, the moment you've been waiting for. A 1957 wheat penny in flawless, uncirculated condition, or one with rare errors, can be worth up to $150,000. Yes, you read that correctly, $150,000 for a single penny. Imagine finding one of these rare coins in your collection or stumbling across one at a coin shop. It's a potential windfall. Whether you're a seasoned collector or someone just starting out, the 1957 wheat penny is a coin you'll want to keep an eye out for. Its historical significance, combined with its rarity and the possibility of finding minting errors, makes it a highly desirable coin in the numismatic world. So, if you have any 1957 wheat pennies tucked away in your coin collection, it's time to take a closer look. Check the condition, search for minting errors, and you might just have a hidden treasure on your hands. Who knows? You could be holding a coin worth much more than you ever imagined. Top 3. We're diving into the world of one of the most iconic and sought-after pennies in American numismatics, the 1950 wheat penny. Now, we all know pennies aren't typically worth much, right? After all, it's just a single cent. But when it comes to rare coins like the 1950 wheat penny, things aren't always so simple. In fact, this particular penny has captured the attention of collectors and investors alike, and it's hiding a secret, one that could mean big money for the lucky individual who happens to own one in pristine condition. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly why the 1950 wheat penny is one of the most exciting coins to look for in your collection. Let's start by taking a trip back to 1950, a time when the United States was booming post-World War II. The economy was growing, and people were returning to a sense of normalcy. The U.S. Mint continued producing the Lincoln wheat cent, a coin that had been in circulation for decades, first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. Over time, the wheat penny became one of the most beloved coins in American history, featuring Lincoln's portrait on the obverse and 2 stalks of wheat on the reverse. Now, 1950 marked an interesting point in the history of this coin. The Mint had produced billions of these pennies over the years, and by 1950, the design had been in circulation for over 4 decades. But while these coins were being struck in large numbers, there were still a number of factors that made the 1950 wheat penny stand out from the rest, especially when it comes to rarity and condition. First, let's talk about the mintage. In 1950, the U.S. Mint produced over 1 billion wheat pennies, which might seem like a lot. However, the key here is that most of these coins were used in everyday transactions, leading to a large number of them becoming worn, damaged, and heavily circulated. Coins that weren't stored properly or that were exposed to the elements have likely lost much of their value over time. This makes the 1950 wheat penny in good or uncirculated condition relatively rare, but rarity alone doesn't make this penny particularly valuable. There's something else that makes the 1950 wheat penny even more intriguing for collectors: minting errors. Yes, some of these pennies have unique characteristics that set them apart from the rest, and this is where things get really exciting. One of the most notable errors found on the 1950 wheat penny is the repunched mint mark. A repunched mint mark occurs when the mint mark on the coin is struck multiple times, leaving behind a slightly off-center or doubled appearance. For the 1950 pennies minted in Philadelphia, you'll want to look carefully for this error, as it can make a huge difference in the coin's value. Collectors love these types of errors because they are rare and make the coin unique, turning what might be a regular penny into a highly coveted treasure. Another potential error to look for on the 1950 wheat penny is the double die error. This happens when the die used to strike the coin malfunctions, causing some of the design elements, like the lettering or the date, to appear doubled. A double die error on a 1950 wheat penny is extremely rare and can increase the coin's value dramatically. If you're lucky enough to find one, you could be holding onto a coin worth far more than its face value. Now, let's talk about something that every collector pays attention to: the condition of the coin. A 1950 wheat penny that's in excellent condition, free from any scratches, wear, or other imperfections, can be worth much more than a coin that has been heavily circulated. The higher the grade, the higher the value. This is why collectors search tirelessly for coins that are well preserved and free from damage, as they can sell for significantly higher prices at auctions. So, what does this mean for you? If you come across a 1950 wheat penny in your collection, or perhaps while browsing through a pile of old coins, it's worth taking a closer look. The 1950 wheat penny in pristine or uncirculated condition, or one that features a minting error like a repunched mint mark or double die, could be worth a lot of money. In fact, at auction, these rare specimens have sold for prices that may surprise you. Drumroll, please. A 1950 wheat penny, especially one in top-tier condition with a minting error, can be worth up to $159,000. Yes, you heard that right, $159,000 for a single penny. Can you imagine stumbling across one of these in your collection? Or even finding one tucked away in an old jar of coins? It's every coin collector's dream to find a rare gem like this. Whether you're a seasoned expert or just starting out, the 1950 wheat penny is definitely one to keep your eyes peeled for. The right combination of condition and minting errors can make this penny a true treasure. So, what's the takeaway from all of this? If you happen to come across a 1950 wheat penny, don't just brush it off as another piece of spare change. Take a moment to carefully inspect it. Check for any minting errors, evaluate its condition, and you might just have a coin worth thousands, or even hundreds of thousands, of dollars. Top 4, we're going to explore a coin that might just be sitting in your collection, quietly waiting to make you a fortune. That coin is none other than the 1954 wheat penny. Now, you might think a penny is just a penny, but trust me, when it comes to rare and collectible coins, this one is more valuable than you can imagine. In fact, if you happen to have a rare 1954 wheat penny in your possession, you could be holding a piece of history that could be worth a serious amount of money. Stick with us until the end of this video, because you're going to want to know exactly what makes this coin so special and how much it could be worth today. Let's take a step back in time to 1954. The United States had just come out of the Korean War, and the country was in a period of economic growth and prosperity. The 1954 wheat penny was produced during this time, and while it may seem like just another coin in the grand scheme of things, there's a lot more to this penny than meets the eye. To understand its value, we need to talk about the history, rarity, and certain unique features that make the 1954 wheat penny a collector's dream. First of all, the 1954 wheat penny was part of the Lincoln Cent series, which was first introduced in 1909. The design of the coin features the portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, while the reverse showcases two stalks of wheat, symbolizing America's agricultural roots. The wheat penny remained in circulation for decades, and in 1954, the U.S. Mint produced millions of these pennies, around 1 billion to be exact. While that number might seem like a lot, keep in mind that most of these coins were heavily circulated and have worn down over time. This brings us to the first reason why the 1954 wheat penny is valuable: rarity. Finding a 1954 wheat penny in good condition is no easy feat. Most of the coins from this year were used in everyday transactions, which means many of them are now in poor condition. Coins that have been exposed to dirt, scratches, or heavy circulation don't hold much value. But here's the thing: if you happen to find a 1954 wheat penny that has been kept in excellent condition or is uncirculated, that coin could be worth much more than you think. High-grade specimens of the 1954 wheat penny are far less common, and because of their rarity, they're highly sought after by collectors. The better the condition, the higher the value, but the story doesn't end there. As with many coins, some 1954 wheat pennies feature unique errors that can significantly boost their value. One of the most exciting things about coin collecting is the possibility of discovering rare minting errors, tiny imperfections that occurred during production that make a coin stand out. For the 1954 wheat penny, there are a couple of specific errors that collectors are constantly on the lookout for. One of the most well-known errors found in 1954 wheat pennies is the repunched mint mark. This error occurs when the mint mark on the coin is struck more than once, leaving behind a slightly doubled or off-center appearance. The 1954 wheat penny, particularly those from the Denver Mint, is known for having repunched mint marks, and these coins are incredibly valuable to collectors who specialize in mint errors. If you find one of these pennies with a noticeable repunched mint mark, it could be worth far more than a regular, non-error coin. Another error that can make the 1954 wheat penny more valuable is a double die error. A double die occurs when the die used to strike the coin shifts slightly, causing some of the design to be duplicated. This can create a distinct doubling effect on the lettering, date, and other details of the coin. While double die errors are relatively rare, they're highly prized by collectors, and a 1954 wheat penny with this type of error could fetch a much higher price than you might expect. Now, you're probably wondering just how much a 1954 wheat penny could actually be worth. The answer depends on a few factors: the condition of the coin, whether it has any minting errors, and how rare those errors are. A 1954 wheat penny in average condition might only be worth a few cents. However, one that is in pristine, uncirculated condition, or one that features a rare minting error, could be worth a substantial amount more. And here's the exciting part: a 1954 wheat penny with significant errors or in top-tier condition has been known to sell for an astonishing price. At auction, a 1954 wheat penny can be worth up to $152,000. Yes, you heard that correctly, $152,000 for a single penny. It's mind-blowing to think that a coin as simple as a penny could have such a massive value. So, what does this mean for you as a collector? Well, it means that if you have a 1954 wheat penny, you should definitely take a closer look. Carefully examine its condition, and keep an eye out for any minting errors like a repunched mint mark or double die. Even if you don't think you have a rare one, it's always worth checking with a professional if you suspect your penny might be special. You never know, you could be holding on to a small fortune. Top 5. We're about to dive deep into the fascinating world of the 1951 wheat penny, a coin that might just be sitting in your collection, quietly holding a hidden fortune. At first glance, it might seem like just another penny, but trust me, this particular piece of history is anything but ordinary. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll understand why the 1951 wheat penny is one of the most coveted coins in the world of numismatics and how much it could be worth today. Now, let's go back to 1951. It was a time of great change and growth in the United States. The country was experiencing a post-war economic boom, and the mint was churning out coins in large numbers to keep up with the needs of a growing population. Among the many coins produced that year, one stands out: the 1951 wheat penny. While millions of these pennies were struck, not all of them were made the same way, and many of them were heavily circulated. So, why does this particular penny matter in the world of coin collecting? First, let's talk about rarity. While the US Mint produced a staggering number of 1951 wheat pennies, well over a billion, what makes this coin special is how few of them remain in excellent condition. Most of these coins were used in everyday transactions, which means many of them are now worn down or damaged. In fact, finding a 1951 wheat penny in even good condition is relatively rare, and finding one in uncirculated or near-perfect condition is an absolute gem. The scarcity of these well-preserved coins is what makes them highly desirable among collectors. The better the condition of the coin, the higher the price it can fetch, but what truly sets the 1951 wheat penny apart is the possibility of minting errors, which can dramatically increase its value. Minting errors are one of the most exciting aspects of coin collecting because they can turn an ordinary coin into a rare treasure. When a coin is struck by the press, there are all sorts of things that can go wrong: misalignments, doubled strikes, or even mistakes with the mint mark. These errors are highly collectible and often make coins worth far more than their original value. One of the most sought-after errors on the 1951 wheat penny is the double die error. This occurs when the die used to strike the coin shifts slightly, causing the design to be stamped multiple times. The result? Double features on the coin, like the date or the lettering, appearing much thicker or offset. This error is quite rare, and collectors who specialize in double dies know that finding one on a 1951 wheat penny could lead to a significant payday. Another error to look out for is the repunched mint mark. This happens when the mint mark is struck more than once, creating a slight doubling or misalignment. In some cases, you can even see the remnants of the original mint mark beneath the new one. This subtle mistake makes a coin unique and highly desirable among collectors, and the 1951 wheat penny, especially those minted in Philadelphia, is known to have some examples with repunched mint marks. If you come across one of these, you could be holding onto a rare treasure that's worth a lot more than its face value. Now, let's talk about value. While most 1951 wheat pennies in average condition are worth just a few cents, the real value lies in those that are rare, either because they're in mint condition or because they have an error that makes them stand out. A 1951 wheat penny that has been carefully preserved and remains in uncirculated condition can fetch a respectable price. But when it comes to rare minting errors, that's where the big money is. At auctions and among serious collectors, a 1951 wheat penny with a minting error or in pristine condition has been known to fetch jaw-dropping amounts. Are you ready for the big reveal? A 1951 wheat penny with these rare features can be worth as much as $165,000. Yes, you heard that correctly, $165,000 for a single penny. Imagine finding one of these beauties in a jar of old coins or in a collection you inherited. That's the kind of discovery that could change everything. For coin collectors, it's a dream come true, and it all starts with paying attention to the little details, the condition, the mint mark, and the possibility of an error. So, here's your take-home advice: if you have any 1951 wheat pennies in your collection, or if you happen to stumble across one while going through some old coins, take a close look. Inspect it carefully for any signs of wear or, even better, any potential minting errors like a double die or a repunched mint mark. The 1951 wheat penny could be a hidden gem just waiting to be discovered, and it might be worth much more than you ever thought possible. Top 6. We're going to talk about one of the most intriguing and valuable pennies in the world of numismatics, the 1945 wheat penny. Now, I know what you're thinking, it's just another penny, right? But trust me, this particular penny is anything but ordinary. In fact, the 1945 wheat penny has captivated collectors for years, and it's hiding a secret that could make it worth a small fortune. So stick around, because you're about to discover what makes this coin so special and how much it could be worth in today's market. Let's set the stage for 1945. It was the end of World War II, and the United States was experiencing a time of transition and optimism. The war had finally ended, and the country was rebuilding, both economically and socially. In the midst of this historic moment, the U.S. Mint was producing coins for circulation, including the iconic Lincoln wheat penny, which had been in use since 1909. The design, featuring President Abraham Lincoln on the front and two stalks of wheat on the reverse, had become a symbol of the nation's strength and agricultural roots. By 1945, however, the Lincoln wheat cent was nearing the end of its long run. The design would be replaced in 1959 by the Memorial Cent, marking the end of an era. But before that shift happened, the 1945 wheat penny was still being produced, and little did anyone know, this humble penny would become a collector's gem in the years to come. So, what makes the 1945 wheat penny so special? It all boils down to rarity and condition. While the U.S. Mint produced billions of these pennies, not all of them survived in good condition. Most of the 1945 wheat pennies that circulated during the war and in the years following became worn and damaged over time. That means that finding one in excellent or uncirculated condition is no easy feat. Coins that have been kept in pristine condition, free from damage, scratches, and wear, are rare and highly sought after by collectors. The better the condition, the more valuable the coin becomes, but there's another factor that makes the 1945 wheat penny especially exciting for collectors: minting errors. Ah, yes. Minting errors are what truly set some coins apart from the rest. These small imperfections, often caused by mistakes during the production process, can dramatically increase a coin's value. And when it comes to the 1945 wheat penny, there are a few errors that have made certain examples extremely valuable. One of the most desirable errors is the double die error. This happens when the die used to strike the coin shifts slightly during the minting process, causing the design to be struck multiple times. The result is a coin with doubled features, whether it's the date, the lettering, or other details on the coin. In the case of the 1945 wheat penny, a double die error can make the coin stand out in a way that makes it incredibly desirable to collectors. Imagine owning a 1945 penny with doubled Liberty or a doubled date. These small yet striking mistakes are what collectors dream about. Another potential error to look for is the repunched mint mark. This error happens when the mint mark is struck more than once, resulting in a slightly off-center or doubled appearance. The 1945 wheat penny, especially those minted in San Francisco, is known to have some repunched mint marks. If you happen to find one of these, it could make your penny worth far more than its original value, but let's not forget the importance of a coin's overall condition. As with all rare coins, the state of preservation is key. A 1945 wheat penny in uncirculated or near mint condition can fetch significantly more than one that's been heavily circulated. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin. If you're lucky enough to have a 1945 wheat penny that's in pristine condition or has one of those rare minting errors, you might just have a small fortune on your hands. Now, you're probably wondering, just how much could this 1945 wheat penny be worth? Well, prepare to be amazed. A 1945 wheat penny with a double die error or in perfect condition has been known to sell for astronomical prices. In fact, collectors have been willing to pay as much as $185,000 for a single 1945 wheat penny with the right combination of rarity, condition, and minting error. That's right, $185,000 for just one penny. Imagine finding this coin in a jar of old change or in a box of coins that you've been collecting for years. It's not just a penny anymore, it's a rare piece of history that could change your life. For collectors, it's a dream come true. And for those of you who are new to coin collecting, this is the kind of discovery that can get you hooked. So, what's the takeaway here? If you have any 1945 wheat pennies, or if you come across one while sorting through some old coins, don't just toss it aside. Take a moment to carefully examine the coin for any minting errors or signs of high-quality preservation. Whether it's a double die error, a repunched mint mark, or just a well-kept penny, the 1945 wheat penny could be worth far more than its face value. Top 7. We're going to explore why the 1958 wheat penny is so special, what makes it a sought-after collector's item, and just how much this coin can be worth. Stick around until the end because we'll reveal the jaw-dropping value of a 1958 wheat penny in pristine condition. Let's start by setting the scene in 1958. The United States was in the midst of a post-war economic boom, and the country was growing rapidly. The 1950s were a time of prosperity and change. However, it was also the final year of the iconic Lincoln wheat penny before the design would be replaced by the memorial cent in 1959. The Lincoln wheat penny had been in circulation since 1909, but after nearly 5 decades, it was time for a new design to honor Abraham Lincoln's legacy in a more modern way. So, the 1958 wheat penny marks the very end of this historic coin's run, and that's one of the reasons it's so interesting to collectors. While millions of these pennies were minted, what makes the 1958 wheat penny so valuable is its rarity, condition, and the potential for minting errors. Let's break that down. The 1958 wheat penny, like other pennies from that era, was circulated heavily. As a result, the vast majority of these coins are worn, scratched, or damaged. Finding a 1958 wheat penny in excellent condition is a rare occurrence, and when one does surface, collectors are willing to pay top dollar for it. Now, let's talk about the role of minting errors in a coin's value. As you may know, errors during the minting process can turn an otherwise ordinary coin into something extraordinary. Minting errors can take many forms. Some are easy to spot, while others require a keen eye to notice. For the 1958 wheat penny, there are a few specific types of errors that can make this coin particularly valuable. Point 1. Of the most exciting errors collectors look for is the double die error. This happens when the die used to strike the coin shifts slightly during the minting process, resulting in a design that's doubled. This can affect key elements like the date, the lettering, or even the details of Lincoln's portrait. A double die error on a 1958 wheat penny is highly sought after and can significantly increase its value. Another error to watch out for is a repunched mint mark. This occurs when the mint mark is struck more than once, creating a slight doubling or misalignment. The 1958 wheat penny, particularly those minted in San Francisco, has been known to have repunched mint marks. These little imperfections make the coin even more unique and desirable to collectors, but the most important factor in determining the value of the 1958 wheat penny is its overall condition. Coins that have been kept in pristine or uncirculated condition are worth far more than those that have been heavily used. If you happen to come across a 1958 wheat penny that's still shiny and shows little to no signs of wear, you could have a real gem on your hands. And, of course, the more flawless the coin, the more likely it is to fetch a premium price. Now, you're probably asking, how much is a 1958 wheat penny worth? Well, let's get to the exciting part. While the vast majority of 1958 wheat pennies are worth only a few cents, those that have been carefully preserved or contain minting errors can be worth significantly more. At auction, a well-preserved 1958 wheat penny or one with a notable error could sell for an astounding $146,000. Yes, you heard that correctly, $146,000 for a single penny. Can you imagine stumbling upon a 1958 wheat penny in perfect condition or finding one with a rare minting error? That kind of discovery could change everything. For collectors, it's the kind of find that makes the hunt all the more exciting, and for anyone who's new to the world of numismatics, it's a reminder of just how valuable even the most humble coins can be. So, what's the takeaway here? If you have a 1958 wheat penny, whether it's in your collection or buried in a jar of old coins, take the time to carefully examine it. Look for signs of wear, but also check for any signs of minting errors. A double die error or a repunched mint mark could make your penny worth far more than its face value. And don't forget, the better the condition, the more valuable it becomes. So, the next time you come across one of these coins, remember that it might be more than just pocket change, it could be a rare treasure waiting to be discovered. Top 8. We're diving into one of the most intriguing and valuable coins in American history, the 1941 wheat penny. You may have seen these pennies floating around in your pocket change or buried in a jar of old coins, but trust me, not all 1941 wheat pennies are created equal. Some of them are worth a small fortune, and today we're going to explore what makes this coin so special, how to spot rare and valuable versions, and exactly how much a 1941 wheat penny could be worth in today's market. The 1941 wheat penny was minted during an exciting yet challenging time in American history. The country was just 2 years into World War II, and the economy was shifting as it prepared for the war effort. The U.S. Mint continued to produce the familiar Lincoln wheat cent, a coin that had been in circulation since 1909. This penny, featuring the image of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and 2 stalks of wheat on the reverse, was a symbol of American strength and resilience. But despite being a staple in daily transactions, the 1941 wheat penny holds a secret, one that only a handful of collectors are lucky enough to uncover. Now, you might be wondering, what makes a 1941 wheat penny so valuable? The simple answer lies in rarity, condition, and, of course, the potential for minting errors. While millions of 1941 wheat pennies were produced, the majority of them were used in everyday transactions and have been worn down over time. That's why finding a 1941 wheat penny in uncirculated or near-perfect condition is such a rare and exciting event for coin collectors, but it's not just about finding a coin that's in excellent shape. There's another factor that can significantly increase the value of a 1941 wheat penny: minting errors. Minting errors are little mistakes made during the production process, and these small flaws can turn an ordinary coin into an extraordinary one. In fact, some minting errors can make a 1941 wheat penny worth thousands of dollars, far beyond its original face value. One of the most desirable errors collectors look for is a double die error. This occurs when the die used to strike the coin shifts during the minting process, causing the design to be struck twice. The result is a coin with a doubled appearance, whether it's the date, the lettering, or the features of Lincoln's portrait. If you come across a 1941 wheat penny with a double die error, it could make your coin worth significantly more. Another error that adds value is the repunched mint mark. This happens when the mint mark is struck multiple times, causing a slight doubling or misalignment of the mark. If you're lucky enough to find a 1941 wheat penny with a repunched mint mark, especially one from the San Francisco Mint, which would have an S mint mark, you could have a rare gem on your hands. The value of these coins is also greatly influenced by their overall condition. Coins that have been carefully preserved and show minimal signs of wear are more valuable to collectors. If your 1941 wheat penny is uncirculated, it will likely fetch a much higher price than one that has been heavily used. Even slight signs of wear can dramatically reduce a coin's value. So, if you find a 1941 wheat penny that's in pristine or near pristine condition, you could be sitting on a real treasure. You might be asking yourself, how much could a 1941 wheat penny really be worth? Well, buckle up, because the answer is pretty incredible. A 1941 wheat penny that's been well preserved or contains one of those rare minting errors can fetch an astounding $187,000. Yes, you heard that right, $187,000 for a single penny. That's more than some people make in a lifetime, just for finding the right coin in the right condition. Imagine stumbling upon a 1941 wheat penny in your collection or coming across one in your change at the store. It's easy to overlook, but if you know what to look for, you could be holding a piece of history that's worth a small fortune. Even if you don't find a penny with a minting error, a high-quality 1941 wheat penny can still be worth a significant amount, especially if it's been carefully preserved. So, what should you do if you find a 1941 wheat penny? First, take a close look at the condition of the coin. Is it well preserved, with minimal wear? Does it show any signs of a minting error, like a double die or repunched mint mark? If so, you may have just found a rare treasure. Don't let these valuable coins slip through your fingers. Make sure to take the time to examine each one carefully. Now that you know the ins and outs of the 1941 wheat penny, I hope you're even more excited about the possibility of finding one of these valuable coins. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, discovering rare coins is one of the most thrilling aspects of this hobby. Every penny has a story to tell, and sometimes, that story is worth a lot more than we realize. Top 9, we have a truly fascinating coin to discuss, the 1952 wheat penny. Now, at first glance, you might think it's just another penny, but trust me, this little coin has a lot more to offer than meets the eye. So, grab a seat and let's explore why the 1952 wheat penny is one of the most coveted coins among collectors, and how you could have one of these historical treasures worth far more than its face value. The 1952 wheat penny might seem like a humble coin at first, but it's a piece of American history that marks the tail end of the iconic wheat cent series. The Lincoln wheat penny had been in circulation for over 40 years by the time 1952 rolled around. These coins were a symbol of stability and continuity in the United States. It was a time of post-war recovery, and the economy was beginning to show signs of growth. But despite the widespread circulation of the 1952 wheat penny, there are some important factors that make this coin stand out, and why collectors are so eager to get their hands on it. One of the most important things to understand about the 1952 wheat penny is its rarity. While millions of these pennies were minted, the majority of them were used in everyday transactions, meaning they've been worn down over time. Coins that have seen heavy circulation tend to lose their value, so finding a 1952 wheat penny in excellent condition is quite a rare find. When you come across a penny in uncirculated condition or one that's been preserved well, it immediately becomes much more valuable. But there's another layer to the story of this coin. Errors. Minting errors are a key factor that can make a coin extremely valuable, and the 1952 wheat penny is no exception. Coins that were produced with errors during the minting process are highly prized by collectors. Some of the most sought-after errors include double die varieties and repunched mint marks. These small mistakes can turn an ordinary coin into something worth a lot more than its face value. The double die error is one of the most exciting things to look for when it comes to the 1952 wheat penny. This happens when the die used to strike the coin shifts slightly during the minting process, causing the design to appear doubled. This error could show up on any part of the coin, the date, the lettering, or even on the image of Abraham Lincoln. A double die 1952 wheat penny is one of the most valuable finds a collector could come across, and it can dramatically increase the coin's value. Another error to keep an eye out for is the repunched mint mark. This occurs when the mint mark, such as the D for Denver or S for San Francisco, is struck more than once, causing a misalignment or doubling effect. A repunched mint mark on a 1952 wheat penny makes the coin even more unique, and it can significantly boost its worth. These types of minting errors are incredibly rare and are highly sought after by collectors who are looking for something special to add to their collection. Now, let's talk about how condition plays a major role in determining the value of the 1952 wheat penny. Coins that have been carefully stored and well preserved are much more valuable than those that have been heavily circulated. If you have a 1952 wheat penny that is still in excellent shape, perhaps with minimal wear or even showing no signs of handling, it could be worth a significant amount. The higher the grade, the higher the value. So, you might be wondering, how much could a 1952 wheat penny be worth? While most of these pennies are worth just a few cents in their average condition, a well-preserved 1952 wheat penny, or one with a rare minting error, could sell for an astonishing $162,000. Yes, you heard that right, $162,000 for a single penny. This is exactly why collectors are so eager to find that perfect coin, because the potential rewards are incredible. Imagine stumbling upon a 1952 wheat penny in perfect condition or discovering that it has one of those rare minting errors like a double die or a repunched mint mark. That small coin could be the key to a life-changing find. It's the thrill of the hunt and the excitement of unearthing a hidden treasure that makes coin collecting so rewarding. For those who are passionate about the hobby, finding a rare, valuable coin like the 1952 wheat penny is the ultimate prize. As a collector, it's essential to examine your coins carefully. Check the date, look for any signs of doubling or minting errors, and pay close attention to the condition. If you find a 1952 wheat penny that seems to stand out from the rest, take the time to have it appraised. You could be sitting on a small fortune without even realizing it. In the world of coin collecting, every penny has its story, and the 1952 wheat penny is no exception. Its historical significance, rarity, and potential for minting errors make it a fascinating coin to collect. And who knows, that simple penny you find tucked away in a drawer could turn out to be worth a lot more than you ever imagined. Top 10 and last rare coin, we're focusing on a special gem in American numismatics, the 1953 wheat penny. You may be familiar with the classic design of the wheat penny, but the 1953 edition holds some intriguing surprises that could make it a highly valuable addition to your collection. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, stick around because we're going to uncover exactly why the 1953 wheat penny is so sought after, and how it could be worth far more than its face value. Let's rewind for a moment and set the stage. The 1950s were an exciting decade for the United States. It was a time of economic growth, post-war prosperity, and the rise of consumerism. The Lincoln wheat penny, which had been in circulation since 1909, continued to be a symbol of American pride and unity. The design, featuring Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and two stalks of wheat on the reverse, was beloved by millions. The 1953 edition of the wheat penny was part of a huge mintage, but here's the catch, it's not just any penny. Some 1953 wheat pennies have certain traits that make them incredibly rare and valuable, and today, we're going to break it down for you. While most 1953 wheat pennies are still fairly easy to find in everyday change, what makes them special is their condition and the potential for minting errors. The majority of these pennies were in circulation for years, and most have been worn down through use. Coins that have seen extensive wear tend to lose their original value. But here's where things get interesting. Finding a 1953 wheat penny in excellent, uncirculated condition is a true rarity. If you happen to come across one that's been well preserved, with crisp details and no noticeable signs of wear, you might have yourself a treasure. Now, let's talk about what really gets coin collectors excited: errors. Minting errors are imperfections made during the production of a coin, and they can greatly increase its value. The 1953 wheat penny, while often overlooked, can sometimes have rare minting errors that make it incredibly valuable. One of the most exciting types of errors collectors look for is the double die error. This happens when the die used to strike the coin shifts or doubles during the minting process, creating a doubled design. This could appear on the date, the lettering, or even the image of Abraham Lincoln. If you find a 1953 wheat penny with a double die, your coin could be worth much more than you ever expected. Another error to keep an eye out for is the repunched mint mark. The mint mark on a coin indicates which mint produced it, and in the case of the 1953 wheat penny, it could be marked with a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. However, some coins were struck with a mint mark that was repunched during the production process, which causes the mint mark to appear misaligned or doubled. A 1953 wheat penny with a repunched mint mark is a rare find and highly valued by collectors. Of course, the value of the 1953 wheat penny also depends heavily on its overall condition. Uncirculated coins, especially those with no signs of wear, are significantly more valuable. Coins that have been kept in pristine condition can be worth many times more than those that are heavily circulated. It's all about the details, so when checking your pennies, make sure you're looking closely to spot those rare characteristics. So, what's the potential value of a 1953 wheat penny? Here's the exciting part: if you manage to find one in uncirculated condition, or if you stumble upon a rare error coin like a double die or repunched mint mark, your 1953 wheat penny could be worth a remarkable $160,000. Yes, you read that correctly, $160,000. This is why collectors go wild for coins like the 1953 wheat penny. What seems like an ordinary penny could actually be a hidden treasure worth a fortune. Now, imagine this: you're digging through a collection of old pennies, or maybe you find one in a jar of change you've had for years. You spot a 1953 wheat penny, and it looks different from the others. Perhaps it's in perfect shape, or maybe you notice some unusual features in the design. This could be your opportunity to find a valuable coin that could change your life. It's moments like these that make coin collecting such a thrilling hobby. There's always the possibility of unearthing something rare and valuable in the most unexpected places. If you happen to find a 1953 wheat penny in your collection, don't just brush it off. Take a moment to examine it carefully. Look for any signs of minting errors, check the condition, and see if it has any unique features that could increase its value. If it's in great condition or shows any rare characteristics, consider getting it appraised by a professional. You never know, it could be worth a lot more than you ever imagined. That's it for today's video, folks. I hope you enjoyed learning about the 1953 wheat penny and all the factors that can make it a valuable addition to your collection. If you found this information useful, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any future coin discoveries. Thank you for watching, and happy hunting. Who knows what treasures you'll find next in the world of coins?